Culture creates champions. Culture is the lifeblood, the heartbeat, the soul of any team, any organization. These are not things that I've only heard, but have been blessed with opportunities to experience throughout my life. Starting at Lakes Community High School, the football program led by Coach Mertens and an awesome staff. One thing that blew me on my mind and still to this day sticks with me is the I and Win book. And this is something that was embedded in Lakes football culture. And it was something that we would do every week. And it was the last thing we would do before stepping out onto the field. And we would talk about the game of life, right? Right before we're about to go talk or go play a football game, we're talking about the game of life. Why would we be doing something like that? This question, if the game of life ended tonight, would you be a winner, was something that was embedded in all of us and stuck with us, right? And it was something that transformed into our gameplay and the way we bonded as teammates. Taking that over to basketball, hustle stats, an awesome, engaging, and environment creating activity that allowed our team to focus on something bigger than each of our individual performance. Had the opportunity to then take that to Winona State University, where, in my opinion, Coach Sawyer was the best at creating a community culture, right? And everyone in that community respected and looked up to Coach Sawyer and what that football program was doing, right? Take care of those who take care of you. Something he said all the time, sticks with myself, and I know all of my teammates. Take that out of the sport now, applying it into business. Parallax had the opportunity of being the SVP of culture. And this was something that was so important to every single one of our teammates, of taking the time week over week to focus on what we were building, right? And so we use these stickers as ways every Friday to get together to talk about the wins, right? Not only the work wins, but the personal wins. Why would we take time every Friday to talk about personal wins, to recognize those that they were doing, right? And then last, being able to apply it back, Chaska basketball, Fury basketball, being able to pour that back in and to the sport world and see it come to fruition, right? Doing things like the one word from John Gordon, understanding that it is your team, it's your culture, you need to own it. These are things that are embedded in every successful organization, every successful team. And we are so excited that you're here today to talk about that with us, or hear us talk about that. We got Coach Rick and myself. We're about to dive in. We got an awesome episode here, and it's all about team culture. So we're going to get into all the different ways that means. But, man, welcome to AGB Coaching Live. Coach Rick, what's up? How we doing?
Yo, can we just commemorate the fact that
Let's go.
I now have my own hype button, so I can try to bring some energy like JB does. We also got to give some love to your first opening monologue, bringing the heat on team culture, man. It's so important. It's such a big part of what we do at AGB Coaching, but just on any team, anywhere, right? And you hit that on the nail. You hit that nail on the head when you're talking about your business life, your sport life, your relationships. Whenever you've got more than just you involved, culture creates champions, right? And I know that's a little hint into what we want to talk about with the AGB update. We had just such a great time in Minnesota with that school, and they tagged that phrase, and we've really taken it to heart, man. But it's so true. And you guys know what I do for a living. Every day we're on campus, and we've got 20 plus teams, and each one of them has their own culture, and each one of them is pursuing the idea of being champions within that culture and creating an environment that's conducive to everybody winning and everybody learning and everyone having fun and getting better as human beings. So it's just an awesome thing, and we consider ourselves fortunate that we get to play a role in partnering with people to do that, right? So some people have established a sense of culture. They're doing such a good job connecting people and galvanizing and bringing energy. And if some of us, if we're honest, we're struggling with that. That's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's an essential thing to do, but it isn't necessarily easy. And so sometimes you need some help. You got to read the right books. You got to engage with the right people, and find out what works for you and your personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what am I doing tonight, JB? I'm working, and am I working through the awesome gift that we have to give out to our
Yeah.
people?
So if you're out there right now, in the description, there's a link waiting for you. Click that link now or jump into our comments. We're going to send that link out right now as well. And that's going to bring you to a free downloadable that Coach Rick crafted himself. And man, it looks beautiful. So talk me through what I'm looking through right now. This game day checklist that anyone can go get right now who's watching.
All right, so we got the link in the chat. So the game day checklist, right? So here's my thought, right? So we all have there's no day like game day, right? We love game day. And that team culture that you're trying to put in is all about helping everyone find the best version of themselves. But the truth about team culture is that oftentimes it's dependent on individual culture. Right? We talk about this all the time, the selfless power of selfishness. To some extent, to be a great teammate, you must first take care of yourself. You must first be ready to show up and play your role in whatever culture there is. So I know accountability is a big part of being the best version of yourself. So what I did was I put together a quick one-page list that you can use over and over again as your season goes on, and it's available for any sport. Doesn't matter which sport you're playing. You can pull out this list. You can either do it on your phone and just kind of keep erasing it each game, or you can actually print it out and write it and then create like a notebook for yourself so that you can look back and hold yourself accountable to how well you did in any particular game. And so what we try to do is give you some measurables that make sense, right? So the first thing you're going to do, you're obviously going to write down your opponent. You're going to write down the result. All right. You want to know if you won or lost. You can go ahead and put your stats there. I know stats are important, right? So if you played well and you had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, put that there. And then in that first box, go ahead and put your own thoughts about how you felt about the game. Okay. But when you're looking back on how well that game went, we want you to understand that the ability to be successful starts at the beginning. So look at the pregame list and ask yourself if you did these things. Did you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep? Right? Maybe you play today and you fell asleep today, right? So you have a game at 6 p.m. today and you fell asleep at 1 a.m. this morning. Well, you didn't get your 7 hours of sleep. So maybe that has something to do with the stat line. What was your meal prep like? What did you eat that day? Did you use visualization techniques? I was talking to an athlete the other day and he was honest with me. He said, coach, I know the visualization techniques. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't do them. And he's honest with himself. And so I want you to ask yourself, 1, do you know what those are? 2, are you doing them on a consistent basis? Use the power of positive talk. Ask yourself before the game, am I looking myself in the mirror and telling myself what I'm great at? It's okay. It's before the game. That's the time to tell yourself what you're good at. Be optimistic. Me and JB, we have our pregame before we go live, and we're telling each other positive things about who we are and what we know we're bringing to the table. You guys can do that on game day. Motivational music, right? I know that's a big one. Everyone talks about the music at the games, and I know everybody wants to put in, listen, I'm not going to be judgmental on that. Music is the most subjective thing in the whole wide world. So whatever it takes to get you going, that's what you should have in your ear, right? So some of us are classical, some of us are hip hop, some of us are country, some of us are gospel. It's whatever it takes to get you going, put it in your ear and get yourself ready to play. Do you have all the proper gear? So you guys see, I don't have to go through this line by line, but you see, like we've got it broken down so you can hold yourself accountable to how well you did your pregame. Before the game even started, were you ready? And then during the game, I just want to touch on these first 3. These first 3 are so important to me. Do you know your role? Have you embraced that role? And then have you maximized that role? What does that mean, coach? So your coach's job is to explain to you what your role is. They're supposed to tell you, hey, you're the shooter in the corner. Hey, you're the best rebounder of the team. Hey, I want you to be the loudest person on the team. And what I love about knowing your role is that it's for all of us, from the starters to the all-stars to the people at the end of the bench who aren't getting as much playing time as they would like. Everyone plays a role in team culture, right, JB?
Absolutely.
It's
Every
so
single.
crucial that you understand that synergy requires your energy. So whatever you bring to the table, it goes to the middle and we all eat off of it. So you
Yep.
got to know your role and you got to then embrace it. So, okay, so I know that my role is to be a defender, but I really want to be a shooter. Like, like I haven't embraced it. Like, I'm not really feeling this role that you gave me, coach. Like, I want to be something else other than what you see me as. Whenever that's happening, there's a disconnect, and the chances are you're not going to have the best performance that you could have. So you
Right.
have to know your role, then you have to embrace your role. So okay, so let's match those. So now I know I'm a defender. I embrace it. I'm good with it. Now I'm going to maximize it. I'm not going to just be a defender. I'm going to be the best defender in the conference. I'm going to be the best defender in the region. I'm going to be the best defender of my team. And I'm going to fully maximize my time on the court. And I want you to hold yourself accountable. So you would check that box if all those things are true. And then after that, we're going into the post game. These are not so a couple things that people also take for granted. Have you expressed gratitude? Right? When you go down that line after the game is over, we know all the no line. We all know the line we're talking about, right? That handshake line. Like, how genuine are you? How genuine are you? Are you just going through the motion, win or lose? Win or lose? Are you just going through the motion? Are you really in the moment and understanding that you got an opportunity to play the game you love? And you had an opportunity to share the court and compete with other people. And this is the moment to put all the hate aside, put all the trash talk aside, and to show just presence and gratitude for the opportunity to play. I want you to hold yourself accountable to that. All right. Then you got to rehydrate. You got to listen to the coach team debrief. All right. I'm speaking for all my coaches here. We know after that game, we go in to address our team in the locker room, and the eyes are all over the place. All right. They're here. They're down. They're tuned out. They're already on the bus ride home. Listen, I tell people this all the time, JB.
Mm-hmm.
The best weapon that a coach has is his words. It's really he or she. That's really all that they have to bring. Really, they don't get to play anymore. They would love to check in. Most of the coaches I know would love to check into the game, but they
Yep.
can't. So the weapon that they bring to this contest is their voice. And so when they're using their voice, whether it's pregame, postgame, during the game, make sure you're paying attention. So we created this list for you guys. We want you to go download it, own it. It's yours. It's for free. Go to our website, sign up for our free. And this is just the beginning. We're going to give out stuff like this all the time, things that we put together that we know is going to help you in your journey as an athlete, as a coach, or a parent. But we're starting off with this free game day checklist. Go download it. And let us know your thoughts. If you like what you see, if there's some things that we miss, some other things that you would like to be held accountable to that you want to add, let us know. We can adjust this and resend it to you. And then obviously there's a place there for a mentor, coach, or parent to also engage with you and say, hey, here are my thoughts, but make sure you keep it positive.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. So on that, just hitting on the knowing your role, embracing your role, maximizing your role, right? We're talking about culture. And one thing that AGB is going to proudly bring out to the world is a concept of Benergy, right? I've had the opportunity to instill this at Chaska and at Minnesota Fury. That is that opportunity of being a part of the team when you might not be able to step on the court, right? And so creating a role for every individual of the team, and how can you impact the game without necessarily stepping on the court. And I've had some awesome girls pick that up and just totally embrace it. And we got a little documentary coming out about application of the Benergy, and I'm excited to share that with everyone out coming up here. So get that game day checklist. It's gonna be awesome. What we're gonna do next here is, if you didn't know, I hope you've seen it, but if you haven't, go check it out. Coach T, Tara Seifert, was on the AGB podcast. And so we're going to play a little clip from Coach T, a state championship, 300 winning, current co-AD and head women's basketball coach at Cretin-Derham Hall. We're going to talk about Cretin-Derham Hall in a second here at the end of the show. But let's listen into Coach T on the importance of caring from coaching perspective.
Like, first and foremost, to our coaches out there, talk to us about the importance of letting your players see how much you care.
Yeah, I think it's really important. A lot of college clinics and courses you can take right now is kind of know your why. Why do you coach, and why is it important to you? If you're a coach, all you care about is wins and losses. Your kids are going to feel that and sense that right away, and you're going to have challenges. I mean, you have to really care about what you're doing. It's true with anything in life, right? If you have a passion for it, it's going to show. But in sports, so much of it is about the care of the kids and helping them progress, and you want them to succeed, right? But it can't be just about how many wins they have on the season. And so once they feel that, I think a lot of it's communication, but a lot of it's seeing your consistency as a coach, and that you're giving them not only constructive criticism, but you're also rewarding them, and you're also giving them a lot of encouragement. And letting them know the good things they're doing, they're going to feel cared for as a player, and they're going to play harder for you. You have some coaches where they have a love-hate relationship, but a lot of those coaches, even if they're yellers, as long as they're reinforcing and pointing out the good things that kids do, they're going to know they're cared for.
All right. Over communication. I know it was something you wrote down during that podcast, but man, understanding your why and making sure it's foremost in front for your kids to see. Talk about that, Coach. How important is that?
Well, I mean, the first thing I want to point out, JB, is that like the podcasts themselves, right? So we're bringing content, like we're doing live, and we're trying to help parents, coaches, and athletes. But the podcast is also an opportunity for us to learn. Like, that's what I love about it most. Like, we were talking for an hour to a coach who's won 300 games, including a state championship. People coach for decades and don't win 100 games and don't ever win a championship. And so the fact that she's had so much success on the court, leading young people in a game, but also doing it through the pandemic and doing it in so many things. I mean, it was just a wealth of knowledge to just like ask her questions and then sit back and listen. You know what I mean? And that was before we met her in person. I know you had a chance to coach with her, but I was just so impressed by the things that she was able to add to the conversation of team culture in that 1 hour conversation. So I enjoyed it. But yeah, you saw me writing the notes, right? Mm-hmm. Because the over communication is something that, if we're honest, we think about, right? We may outthink ourselves into over communicating. We're like, oh, the guys get tired of hearing from me, and so, or you don't want to appear a certain way. You want to always keep that line. There's all kinds of different approaches, but this idea that I'm always going to communicate, I'm always going to be there, my door is always going to be open, and you establish care with your athletes, and you make sure that they understand that the prerequisite to anything tough I'm going to say to you, like later on I'm going to say, hey, you didn't get back on defense, you're in trouble, right? That's coming later. But the prerequisite to that is that I love you, as a human being, for your name, for who you are, not for how you help me win, or not for, your stat line, but for who you are and what you represent. I see you, I notice you, I care about you, and we're in this together. Everyone's got a different way to do that, but that is the goal. You have to do that if you want to be successful as a coach.
100%. So AGB has had some exciting things happening over the last couple of weeks, but specifically last week. We had an opportunity to go visit this coach live and in person. We're going to play a quick clip of what that looked like, and then we're going to talk about what it was being on campus at Cretin-Derham Hall.
Restart our Captain's Council. And I had a connection already with Justin, who is one of the creators of AGB. And I knew you guys would be a great resource for our high school student athletes and the culture we want to build at CDH. I thought it went great. We had some interaction with the kids. We talked about a roadmap of ways to help them build confidence and different steps to follow. So it gave the kids some challenges, some things to think about, but also made them realize they have resources out there now that they can use and keep building to become great captains within their own teams.
So I think the biggest thing for us by working with AGB, we want to foster our leadership without our school and within our community. I think our school has a long history of having great athletes, great leaders. And we want to continue to foster that through our partnership with AGB and the great things that they're going to offer for us, and hopefully things that we can help them with along their journey as well.
I think for us, partnering with AGB, it was a natural fit for our motto here at CDH is Culture Creates Champions. So we had the 3 C's in our side, and so partnering with a group that had the 5 C's that we really kind of navigated towards and felt that embodied kind of what we were trying to approach with our captains and our leaders. And so in our first conversations with the group and Coach Seifert's background with AGB, we felt it was a natural fit. You could see the energy when the kids left the room, and to get 70 16 through 18-year-olds engaged for a full hour over their lunch hour on a Wednesday, you could see the energy that was there. The group thanked all of us as they left. I mean, you could kind of see the ball kind of rolling and their ideas happening. I'm excited to see our next meeting in a month or so to kind of talk and recap with the group and see where we want to take it from
here. Man, hey, you only get a first opportunity once. I'll tell you what, anyone out there, if you're in charge of a team, club, a sport, a school, you know of a school, you know of some kids, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what our goal is, right? We have ambitious goals, dreams. We want AGB to be nationwide in curriculum, every clubs, but it starts one school at a time. And Cretin-Derham Hall was that first one for us, right? Talk to us about what we did on last Wednesday up in St. Paul, Minnesota.
So much fun, man. It was just so much fun. Like, we started off with a tour of the school. And this is a prestigious school in Minnesota where, Paul Molitor, Joe Mauer, they had this beautiful wall of fame of all the professional athletes that have walked through those halls. And yet you still saw this wonderful sense of so that it was like this classical sense, of this history of greatness. And then you saw the modern feel of what it means to be in school today, post-pandemic, where it's just like, okay, there's some energy here, and like everyone else, we're craving more. There was a hunger there. They wanted more. They wanted to know more. They wanted to engage more. And so that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to come in there and engage with them. And that's the key to all of this, JB. This isn't necessarily us wanting to preach at a bunch of people. It's about us wanting to engage with people and see what's going on in our schools right now and how can we help. What's going on with our coach-player relationships? What's going on player-to-player relationships? What's going on with the faculty and the coaching staff? How connected are they, and can we help there? So we've got this program that we think is helpful to everyone, and for Cretin-Derham to give us an opportunity to explain that and to get in with their students was just such an awesome time. And I love traveling with you and seeing you in your comfort place. It was a lot of fun, man.
Man, it was. Also, just quick shout out to, I got the document up here, but this is in the course, and it was something we kind of led them through, and it's just the beginning of all the things that we have, all these ideas, but how do we get those conversations and foster them in real life, right? And that was to me, my favorite part about that opportunity. We've been working on this, for a minute, but to actually get the feedback from the kids, see them engaging with it, asking questions, and seeing it click. I don't know about you, but my favorite part was when the day was over, we came back at night, we were watching the soccer, the volleyball games, and the kids, the parents, coming up to us, like you said, there is that craving, that want for more. And that school has it, man. And it energizes me so much to keep going, because it's just the beginning.
Yeah. And I think, JB, that everybody has it, right? I said to someone the other day, I was kind of in one of my deep thinking modes, and I said that I believe that human beings love learning as much as plants love water. We crave it. We want to learn, we want to engage, we want to get better. The difference between a plant and a human being is our brains. We are so complex as creatures that we can sometimes talk ourselves out of the thing that we want. Right. But what I love about what you and I are doing is we're sort of just going back to that natural space, kind of unapologetically being like, man, I know you love this. I know you want to engage. I know you want to win. I know you want to be the best version of yourself. And we've got what we believe is a roadmap that helps you do that. And so let's go on this journey together and just see how much we can learn by engaging with people. And what Matt said, what the AD there, his name is Matt. He's a very, very, thank you for your hospitality. He's very, very warm, welcoming AD. And what he said about having 70 high school students engage over their free hour, like this is their free hour. I can tell you, as someone who used to work at a high school, is not an easy thing to do. That's difficult, right? I mean, they very well could have ran us out of that building as far as just not engaging, just, because it's their hour,
Yeah.
but they were right there with us, lockstep, and involved in what we were doing. And so that gets us excited, and we just want to do it over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that brings us in to our next segment here, and that is the What to Love segment. And tonight, if you haven't picked up the theme, it's on team culture, right? We're going to run through the top 10 of things to love about team culture. We're going to start it off, number 10, encouragement. Positive culture fosters an environment where individuals are constantly encouraged to push their limits and reach their full potential, right? John Gordon tells us that encouragement, right, the definition is literally to pour courage into, right? When you're part of a team, something bigger than yourself, you have this natural group of encouragement.
Yeah. And it starts there, right? So I was just telling the team today at practice that, once the shot is up or once the mistake is made, the team, basically our standard is you must say something positive. Like if I take a shot, even if it's a bad shot, the criticism, the feedback comes from the coaching staff. But the players, as soon as the bad shot is made, you say something positive, like, hey, that's okay, get back, we'll get him next time. And the guys looked at me like, kind of like side eye, but they started doing it, and they start to realize that it actually works. And here's why it works, JB, because eventually I'm the one in need of the encouragement. Yep. So if I get in the practice of giving it, then, it comes back to me full circle.
Absolutely. Power of the team right there. Number 9, fun and joy, right? Positive culture injects a sense of joy and fun into the environment, making work or any shared activity a more enjoyable and fulfilling experience to everyone involved. This one's extremely important to me because it has a stigma like, oh, if you're having fun, you're not working hard. That couldn't be more than the truth. If I'm smiling and having a good time, I'm operating my highest potential capacity, right? So whatever you're doing, make that as much fun and joyful as possible, because guess what? When you grow up, you're still a child at heart, right? We're all child of God. Like, you are made in that image, right? And just because you're getting older and you have more responsibilities doesn't mean you lose that pure joy for being lost in the present moment, right? Team cultures can bring that out of each and every one of us.
Yeah. If fun is in one corner, its number one opponent, JB, is cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like a showdown, right? And when athletes want to be cool, they kind of sometimes don't allow themselves to have fun. And I just think that fun is cool. Like let's relax, and coaches too. I think coaches can get really worked up about winning and about everything being perfect. We forget to just relax and enjoy the process and have fun. Because certainly there's parts of life that isn't so fun, but sports should always be.
Always. Number 8, empowerment. Positive culture empowers individuals by giving them the autonomy and support they need to take ownership of their work and meaningful contribution, right? Talk about how fulfilling it is when you feel like you're contributing, right? A team culture will give you that opportunity to empower you to do something.
That's right. And like we said before, it's for everybody. And that's another key component for the coach. You've got to make sure that everyone on your team is empowered to impact the team. And so that includes the manager, that includes the assistant coaching staff, that includes the 15th person on the roster, that includes the stars, all-star player. Everyone is empowered to impact the team by bringing their voice, by bringing their energy, by bringing their ideas, by bringing their creativity. And it's up to us as leaders to foster that environment.
100%. Number 7, well-being and balance, right? When you're part of a good team culture, you're going to have some well-being and balance, right? Positive culture recognizes the importance of well-being and work-life balance, which is said to be a myth out there in 2023. Promoting a healthy and sustainable approach to personal and professional growth, right? Is it possible, Coach, today to live a balanced life, or is that not even a choice for us?
Well, I think for me, and we've talked about this before, for me, JB, it comes down to our very first assignment in the AGB mentality course. It's about adding weight to your want, right? This idea of balance is a subjective thing. What would be a balanced week for me is not the same thing as what would be a balanced week for you. And then depending on what my goals are on a particular day, I could shift my balance on that day. But then when I look at the totality of my year, I'm going after balance. You know what I mean? So it's a very subjective thing. And the number one component to it for me is you're the ultimate judge. Someone else can't look at you and tell you what that balance is. You have to listen to yourself. And when you feel off balance, you've got to prioritize that sense of groundedness, because that's from which everything else flows. You know, if I don't feel grounded, if I don't feel myself, then I can't pursue the goals I want to pursue anyway. So you might as well take a break from the goals and get yourself back to a centered place.
Right. A great team culture will make sure and recognize when that's happening to individuals. Number 6, resilience, right? Team culture builds resilience. As team members support and lift each other up during challenging times, helping to overcome adversity, obstacles, and to persevere, keep moving forward, right? When you are in a positive, a great team culture, you get to build this great skill of resilience.
Yeah. And I mean, you can measure success based off of when things are going well. You could do that, but I measure success off of how things are going when things are not going well. When a team is on a 3-game losing streak, or even on an 8 possession missing streak, or they're in a volleyball game and they're down 20-7, you know, what does that timeout sound like? You know, if I'm down 20-7 in a volleyball game and my timeout still has energy and connectivity in it, that's a dangerous team. That is a dangerous team. And the team that looks at that scoreboard and goes, uh-oh, and they start blaming each other, and they stop not looking at each other for encouragement, that's a team that's in trouble. So resilience is a key component of any culture.
Number 5, celebration of diversity. Positive cultures embrace diversity and appreciate the uniqueness and contributions of all of those individuals from different backgrounds. And for me personally, playing college football, that was my favorite part. We were a melting pot of so many different backgrounds and cultures brought into one team that was under, one goal. And seeing that into fruition, that can go a lot of different ways. But a team that has a positive culture celebrates that stuff, and it actually helps amplify the overall team performance.
Yeah. The one thing I always like to mention when we talk about the subject of diversity is that it is impossible not to have it. So people who look at it as some sort of buzzword that you either have or you don't have, to me, I don't understand exactly what it is. Diversity exists whenever there's more than one person in the room, because no two people are exactly alike. Right. So it doesn't matter what your room looks like. You have some diversity in it. Now, I know what we're saying. I know I can hear your thoughts right now. You're thinking, well, yeah, but that buzzword is important. You've got to have representation of multiculturals and all of that. I get that. But what I'm saying is, regardless of the cultural representation in your room, diversity is about your ability to celebrate the differences in that room, whatever they are. Right. So like you come from this socioeconomic, I come from this socioeconomic. you have this skill set and I have that skill set. I feel connected to people when they talk to me. You feel connected to people when they don't. Like, we are different. And if you're going to only love me and only engage with me if I'm like you, then we don't have a celebration of diversity in our culture.
Yeah.
So it's about celebrating and saying, I love that you're not like me. Come on in, let's go. Bring your difference, bring your quirky, bring your strange, bring your style, what's normal to you. Bring it in the middle and let's share it and learn how to win with it.
Love it. Number 4, unity. Being a part of a team cultivates a shared purpose, right? That sense of belonging, which results in a united front that we can accomplish anything together. Being part of a group of people that are lockstep, whether it's one play or a full game, man, there's nothing that like energizes you more of being in sync with multiple other humans.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. And there's a certain amount of humility there, right? You've got to humble yourself to say, hey, what I want is not as important. When you're a part of a team, what you want is not as important. You've got to humble yourself and think of things from a combined sense. A fist is stronger than a finger, So I completely agree. And it's not as easy as it sounds, but you've got to commit to it if you want a positive team culture.
Absolutely. All right, top 3. This one's your
3.
favorite. Accountability, number
Hey.
3, right? This one's big. 2023, right? Team culture promotes individual and collective accountability, fostering a sense of responsibility and ownership for the team's performance and outcomes. And I think that's the key word right there. You taking personal ownership in what happens to this team. It is, in my opinion, one of the greatest skills that you can take out of your sports world is being accountable and knowing that you can be held accountable when you say you're going to do something.
Yeah. You know me, I could talk for a long time on the subject, but I won't. I'm going to keep it brief. I'll just say this. Blame is so easy. It's just so easy. Like, you can just default to blame. You don't even have to try. It takes no effort. You just simply breathe, and out comes a natural inclination to blame someone else for whatever happened. And accountability is completely different. It's almost unnatural, right? Because it's like, well, I want to protect my self-ego. I want to feel good about myself. So it feels much better to say this is on someone else. But man, when you learn to flip that, when you see accountability as something to embrace because it makes you stronger, it makes you better, it makes you wiser, it makes you more the best version of yourself, it is a beautiful, beautiful space to be mentally. And it helps with your team culture.
Number 2, supportive community. Right? When you have a team that has that culture, you now have a supportive community. Being a part of positive culture means being surrounded by like-minded individuals who uplift and support each other through challenges and successes. You get that second family in a lot of ways that the sports bring to us.
You hear it all the time, right? When professionals retire, they tell you that it's not necessarily the game that they miss. It's the bus rides. It's the teammates. It's, just going through something with other people. It's just an amazing thing. And then, that's why I think a lot of people go into coaching, or they just want to stay around the sport because there's nothing like it. And then what out there is more galvanizing in our society than sport, right? What do we all do every Sunday? Most of us, I know some people don't necessarily love American football, but a lot of people on Sunday, they rally around a color and some flags and some logos and some humans who are competing. And it just makes the weekend, more fun. I know you're doing another thing with TJ and Andrew, and that's so much fun. And just seeing you guys just cut it up, but that's all around that supportive community that sports brings. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely. Nothing like that brotherhood, sisterhood that sports brings. All right. Number 1, should be no surprising. You're listening to an Always Get Better podcast. Number 1, growth mindset. If you're on a positive team culture, they are going to be pushing you to always get better, right? Positive culture promotes a growth mindset where individuals see failures as learning opportunities and are motivated to continuously improve themselves, right? It is a never-ending cycle whether you're in the playing level, the coaching level, the parenting level, right? We always have something to learn and are always learning from each other.
You would think that I think when this scrolls across and people see it as the number one thing on our team culture, they're going to agree, right? You see it and you go, yeah, growth mindset, I'm in. But it's not as easy as it sounds. And the reason why is because the other mindset is a fixed mindset, which is most common with results. And who here is going to say, if you're still with us, put in the comments if you don't like positive results. You know what I mean? That's okay. Like, it's very natural if you say, I want to win. When I shoot a basket, I want to make it. If I ask someone out on a date, I want them to say yes, right? If I go for an interview for a job, I would like to get the job. Like, that is an understandable mindset. There's nothing wrong with you if that's the way you think. A growth mindset doesn't necessarily, it's not the antithesis of that. We can think about the results, but we're not driven by them. We're driven by the process. And that's the biggest difference. So that even if I do miss the shot, if it was the right shot to take, I'm good. Even if I miss the interview and I don't get the job, I can focus on the things I didn't do well in the interview so that I can get the next job. So a growth mindset is something you, just like anything in life, you need reps at. You've got to practice it. It's got to be something you do every day until it becomes second nature to you. And like you said, that's what this is all about. And so it's obvious it's our number one what thing to love about team culture.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, those are top 10. And so basically what we want to leave you with here is it's your culture, it's your team. Own it, right? It's going to be the single most important thing that you can do for your team, your organization, right? Whether it's making a silly hype hawk or chain that the team can put on every week, right? Whether it's some stickers that people can put on their laptops, whether it's a culture book that people gather around and write things in, whatever your secret sauce is, whatever your application of culture is, it doesn't matter, right? It is, all that matters is that you care about it and you get everyone else in your team, your community to care about it. It'll bring you to new heights. It'll bring you that championship energy around your team and your organization. And then those results will take care of themselves, right? Focus on the process, focus on the individuals in there. All right. Make sure in the description or the comment, get that free game day checklist. Go ahead and download that now. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. I am heading out to Romania.
Hey.
First mission trip. Shout out River Valley Church. Excited about that. If you're watching, you hear this before Sunday. I'd love to any advice, any prayer requests, anything like that. I'd love to bring that with me. But I'll be heading out of the country. Coach Rick and Lindsay will be holding down the fort. And everyone's in great hands, not worried about that. So
should we tell them? Let's tell them about Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. So we're excited that for those of you who have joined the AGB family, our first live session where we work one-on-one, where we interact with you. You get to ask us questions, tell us about your story, tell us about your journey. We're going to add weight to your want. We're going to talk about the goals that you have and what you need to do and what you want to do to get to those goals. We are so excited about that. That's coming up this Sunday. And here's the good news. If you haven't signed up yet, there's still time. Even after this Sunday, there's going to be time. We want you to get involved. Okay. So if you want to know more about that and how to work with me and JB closer on your specific journey, there's going to be links all around in our different socials. Go there. And we would love to jump on a phone call with you and see what we can do to help you achieve your goals. But we are going live this Sunday at 7 p.m. and we are super excited about that.
Absolutely. We can't wait. As Rick said, get signed up. Reach out if you have any questions at all. Appreciate each and every one of you for watching this, and we'll see you next time.
Later.